Crowd of boys, peace. What's good? I come to talk to you boys today about semen retention and the hypnotic rhythm. And before I go in on this topic, I want to thank all subscribers, all ones who've been here. You guys have been, emailing me, reaching out, giving me certain information, giving me encouragement. I thank you boys. To the new subscribers, I thank you. Show my deepest gratitude for subscribing. You boys who have been dropping comments in the comment section. This channel is to build community, for us to share our experiences and our thoughts. Super thanks is also a part of the channel. I always forget about that as a form of donation to the channel. Also, the Cashapp and the PayPal is in the description. And all forms of donations, once again, goes back into the channel. Your donation doesn't go straight to my pocket. It comes to me, of course. You dig what I'm saying? But your donation comes back to you in the form of the knowledge and the wisdom that goes into these audios. So you get that energy back. And let's build this community. If you can, donate to the channel is much appreciated and much gratitude. Hypnotic Rhythm comes from the book that I just read, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. I encourage you boys to tap in with that, where Napoleon Hill has a conversation with the devil or his lower self. You dig? And he talks about, in one of the chapters, hypnotic rhythm. And the hypnotic rhythm is any thought or physical movement which is repeated over and over through the principle of habit, which finally reaches the proportion of a rhythm. How does this correlate with semen retention? It correlates so well because when you think about your past and how you engaged in pornography, the act of it, right? Right now, when you come to this channel, hopefully you're coming to gain the insight on how to break away from it, or you're already breaking away. You boys are on streaks, so you're already set on a path of breaking away from that act. If you get urges, that's fine. Find your way to break through that cycle, break through that rhythm. But it was once a rhythm for us. And why it was such a stronghold on us is because we were hypnotized to it. The images that we were seeing, it hypnotized us. It put in our minds to distract us from what we were really supposed to be doing as men. You dig what I'm saying? Any thought of physical movement, masturbation, this brought us pleasure, the dopamine effects. It affected our brain. It affected our frequency. We were set on a frequency, but it was a low frequency. We were committing low vibrational acts, and that's where the devil dwells. It's not a devil under the ground anywhere. This is ourselves that we're speaking about. The devil that's within us. You dig what I'm saying? Anybody can act holier than thou and say that they're this and that. Listen, you got a devil that's within you. Hell is on earth. You dig what I'm saying? If you don't understand that concept, then that's on you. Whatever you believe, that's on you. But your lower self was committing this act, and you were hypnotized by the images, and it became a ritualistic act. Just think about the times when you would watch pornography, masturbate, whatever would have you. Most of the time it was probably at a certain time, after a certain thing that you did during your day. Maybe it was spontaneous, whatever the case may be, right? But you were already under that spell. You were under a rhythm. Your body and your brain were syncing up to do this act. You were hypnotized, or we can say under a spell of pornography, point blank period. Watching pornography and masturbation becomes a normal act. after the repeated offenses. You dig what I'm saying? It becomes, once when this act is done repeated over and over, just like the definition of hypnotic rhythm is saying, it becomes normal to you. Through this irregular sex habit, it becomes a part of your routine or ritual, and having its adverse effects. That's where we get the weak posture, the weak eye contact, being awkward around people, women, or just people in general, lack of motivation, being over-sexualized, brain fog, loss of strength, and testosterone, vital nutrients and minerals and vitamins that you're supposed to hold within to fortify your body. You're releasing frivolously, so you're just weak in that area, dull look to skin, etc., etc. All the negatives that come with the semen retention, that comes with releasing and not being on semen retention. All right, you break this hypnotism, or you break this spell by reversing the rhythm, or once again, here comes this word, ritual. And the reason why I use ritual is because they say somehow, some way, you pay with something when you watch pornography and you release to it. Pornography is free as hell. You just tap in online, and I don't want to trigger anybody, but you know, I'm going to talk real. We're going to be real. We're real on this channel, so I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I don't use the word corn, or I'm going to say pornography. I'm going to say porn. So if you're sensitive to it, if it triggers you, I'm sorry. You got to get stronger. Point blank, period. But I use the word ritual because you pay with your soul, if you will, when you watch pornography. It's free to watch, but you're paying somehow, some way. All right. And like I said, once again, you're under a spell. You're under this hypnotic rhythm. You have been hypnotized to it. That's why it becomes like off the cuff for you. It becomes a part of your routine, right? Semen retention is the way to break up out of this spell, because what semen retention does, especially when you go on longer streaks, it sets you back upon a path that reverses the rhythm of what your body was used to doing, and you're rewiring your brain. You dig? So it's important that you understand this concept that yes, you was once hypnotized, but now it's time for you to do your own ritualistic act. And that's why I always say, don't think of voodoo or magic as something that's wicked or evil. Once when we hear certain words, people get triggered, especially if you're a Christian, especially if you are any type of religious, under any type of religious background or whatever. When we hear certain words, we automatically think it's something that's wicked or evil. But understand that once when you try to reverse something that's already been done to you, that you possibly had no control of, and it was done to you in the form of a ritualized act, you have to fight back in that same way. So create your own ritual. You have the power within you to do that. The way you do it is through semen retention. Retain your seed, cut off all the BS, stop watching porno. That's the first steps. And then you work on yourself. You break up out of the spell. Take your energy and take your attention and transmute it to something else where it sets you back on a path of wherever your life leads you. If you're a cook, you a chef, read a book on culinary. If you're adventurous, you want to go travel, read a traveling book. Get your money up. Go harder at your job. Go harder at the gym. Set a better routine for yourself that it breaks you away from that act. The importance of a long streak on semen retention is so that you gain the momentum and the pattern of this act. And it eventually sets you free, and you break that spell of being over-sexualized. You get your clarity back in your mind. You set your frequency on a higher vibration. Once again, I've done an audio about death to your former self. You have to kill that former self, which is the ego. Your ego is telling you one thing that you need to release, but your ego that once was hypnotized. And that ego will try to fight back to tell you, well, everything was fine back then for the most part. You wasn't going through any type of ills, probably. I don't know everybody's situation. But your ego will fight back, and that's where the urges come from. We'll even have sexual dreams. A subscriber dropped a comment saying, he had another sexual dream or whatever, and that's just a part of the game. We don't totally break free from our past partners or certain images that we have seen. They just don't erase and go away. They will come back because that's the ego fighting back. And when it comes through dreams and it attacks us through our dreams, it can slip in, and that can kind of take us off our course and knock us off our square on the semen retention. But once again, you have to fight back harder when it comes to that point. Enforce your ritual of semen retention upon the spell that was once placed upon you, because it will fight back at you through urges, through coming through your dreams. It's important to meditate while you sleep. Try to listen to sleep music. Say your affirmations before bed. Show gratitude throughout your day and bring them back to your place before you sleep. And that kind of wards off the attacks. You won't have as much sexual dreams or even urges when you start to practice and really vibe high and get on a rhythm. Your frequency is a rhythm itself. You dig what I'm saying? So when you're on a higher vibration, your rhythm becomes more vibrant and your frequency will continue to raise and raise. And your brain will pick up on what you are finally doing. Once you trick your brain and you are able to break away from the spell, you'll be set forth on a better path of breaking out of this hypnotism. Now, my boys, hopefully this information helps you. You get a better understanding of why you were one way before semen retention, and now you have gained some type of enlightenment by coming to this audio, getting the knowledge, and understanding that you were once hypnotized, your brain was played with, and have a conversation with yourself. That's the most important thing. Don't be afraid to talk to yourself. I've said in a previous audio too that if you talk to yourself, you'll find a lot more out about yourself. Doing it in a place where it's safe, where people aren't around, of course, because people think you're crazy. But, me personally, I don't really care. I don't give a fuck about what people think anyway. But really have a conversation with yourself, how you used to be, who you are now. And this is where affirmations come from. You are speaking to yourself. You're speaking over yourself positive things, positive words. Re-evaluate yourself. Get on a ritualistic plan, because everything is out here trying to attack us, especially us men. Pornography is the number one thing. It hypnotizes us, my boys. Once again, I recommend reading or listening to on an audiobook Napoleon Hill's Outwin the Devil. Don't be spooked. Even myself personally, I'm willing to share that the other day I was sleeping, and as I was waking up, I heard a voice in my left ear talking to me. And it just popped up out of nowhere, and that's more spiritual than anything. But when I heard the voice, it gave me specific instructions. It was short, but it was a voice that I didn't recognize, but it came from within, and it gave me instructions. I'm not going to express what it told me to do, but it was something positive. It wasn't anything wicked, but it inspired me to do what I have to do as a man. You dig what I'm saying? And not to say that you boys will gain the same experience. You may not. You have to tap in spiritually more to be able to receive messages and codes or whatever the case may be. But tap into these sources, utilize the information, get on a rhythm, change your frequency, change the algorithm of your brain, and more things will come to you. You dig? So with that said, my boys, always with love, peace.